Well, hi, Ty.
Good to see you. This is my friend Phil. I wanted to introduce him to you to have you teach him everything you know about hunting.
Well, now you want to take a look at a gun. Now, I'm going to start with a pump action shotgun. The next gun is a semi-automatic.
And in order to lock it.
There you go. You're a quick learner. The next gun is the over and under. Some people call this the gentleman's gun. Safety is here. On an over and under, you always shoot your bottom barrel first and then your top barrel. And this is automatic. Once you pull the trigger, it goes to the next barrel.
How's that length of pull on that for you?
This one's like about the same as that pump.
That seems like it's a good fit for him, right?
Yeah.
So now we've seen 3 different shotguns: the pump shotgun, the semi-auto, and the over-under break open.
Now, this is the side-by-side, and both barrels are set to pattern at the same thing about 25, 30 yards.
See, that one
It's a little bit long for you.
Right.
I really like, Dan, how you're always reinforcing the length of pull and length of pull, because so many shooters, including myself, don't know about it. Or at least I didn't know until I started hanging out with you how important it is, and you always talk about that.
Now, here's another thing, okay? Since we're talking this way, your wood stock, you can always cut it. I recommend the wood stocks to everybody. Now, if the gun is too short for you, there is several ways to go. You can buy a thicker butt plate here, okay? Mm-hmm. So you can adjust that length of pull by either cutting or adding to your recoil pad. Now, what I want to show you next is youth model guns. A little short, huh?
A little short.
This is a Weatherby, and this is a 20 gauge. You notice it's a little shorter. The 20 gauge recoil is almost as much as a 12 gauge. I recommend the 28. The younger they are that they start handling firearms and shooting, the better they are about getting ingrained with absolute gun safety. If you've got a lady, a female that wants to shoot, have her look at the youth models first.
How do you tell what gauge these shotguns are?
Each shotgun will tell you somewhere on the receiver and the barrel as to what gauge they are.
Oh, yeah.
This is your standard 2 3/4 inch 12 gauge. Then my next gauge is the 28 gauge. And you can see how much smaller that is for the bore size. Okay. A little smaller pattern, it takes a little more expertise to hit right. Okay, then we have the 20 gauge, which is right between the two of them. Now that's something we haven't talked about, the shot size. 8 is dust, 8.5, 8, 7.5, 6 on up. I like the 7.5. Here's the thing with shot size, because it's the size of the little pebble bead that you shoot out. The bigger the shot size, the more damage you do to the meat. And here again, we're talking about gun safety. Never mix your ammunition in your vest or your pocket. And here is another point, don't litter the field. Pick up your empties and put them in your pocket and bring them out. Okay, now we're going to talk about choke. And what choke does, it controls the spread of your shot. The string going out and the width of your shot going at it, okay? And you have a muzzle choke which screws all the way to the end of your muzzle. And the way you read these, can you see these marks right here?
Yeah, little marks right there.
Okay, now that is an improved cylinder bore. There's 4 little notches there, okay? And this is a full choke. You see the one little notch. All the chokes are marked the same way, all your muzzle chokes. Winchester, Browning, Beretta, all of them. That's a universal mark. And that, like I said, that controls your pattern. And so, like the improved cylinder bore is the widest pattern that's practical for hunting. And the full choke is the tightest choke you have for practical hunting. And then next, you have the extended choke. Now this screws in, and you got about that much sticking out your muzzle. What I like about that is, for the full, the muzzle choke, I got to have a tool to screw it in to make sure it's in tight. For this choke, I could just put it in with my fingers. And like I said, that controls your pattern.
Okay.
Now for a semi-auto, for most field shooting, I'll shoot a modified choke. On my over and unders, I shoot an improved cylinder on my first barrel, my bottom barrel, and then I'll shoot a modified on my top barrel. And that gives me, with the ammunition I shoot, that gives me a range of about 50 yards.
Okay.
And here again, most pheasant hunters will quit shooting at birds at 30, 35 yards. We've talked about gun safety, we talked about chokes, and we talked about ammunition. The other things we have to think about is protection, hearing protection, for instance. You're around large noises, loud noises, and it can affect your hearing. And back in the old days, when I started shooting, nobody thought about hearing protection. Now, I'm in the military and I'm on the firing line. I've stuffed my ear with cotton, toilet paper, cigarette butts, you know, the whole thing, because my ears would ring for 4 or 5 days afterwards. But nobody realized how damaging that was to our hearing. So then, somewhere down the line, they came up with hearing protection. And these are part of what we have. This is just part of the hearing. These are called ear plugs. And these are made by Superlight. And you roll it up a little bit and hold your ear up like this, and then you put the plug in and do the same thing on the reverse. And that will protect your hearing.
Okay.
Now these are called muffs. And I don't like them because I can't hear a thing that's being said. And the other problem I've got is that I'll hit my stock with this.
Yeah, they're kind of bulky, big, get in the way.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, you don't hear anything.
And then this is the style that I use. And what I like about these, throw them around my neck, boom, boom. Then when I'm ready to start shooting, now the only problem with these, you have to get used to them, and they break in after a while. This will rub across the collar of your coat, and and it bothers some people. These are my preferred field earplugs, okay? And then the other thing, I've never had a gun blow back, but you want to have good eye protection.
You only got one set of eyes and you want to protect them.
Oh yeah, yeah, he says this. And it's the same thing with your hearing. Yes, I have 40% loss in my left ear, and that was from military, okay? Well, nobody had hearing protection in those days. Now, when you went in, you started issuing plugs, right?
They issued us plugs when we first entered the Army, yeah.
Yeah. And in my day, nobody thought about that. Well, you know, I'm a dinosaur. I packed the 11-pound M1 Garand and green fatigues and no camel. Oh, and jump boots, Corrigans, which is what I wore the whole time. And I ran my daily jog in fatigues and jump boots. Now, I understand that when you went to basic, you wore shorts and tennis shoes, right?
On PT days, yeah. Yeah, but we had different uniforms for different things.
Now, here's another thing. This is called Blaze Orange. Now, people that are colorblind cannot tell the difference between green and red. Now, you'll notice, yes, these are right on the arm and a little bit on the shoulder. And this is what I wear in cold weather. Now, my preference, and we'll get into this too, this is my preferred vest. You see how much orange you've got on this? We have had hunters 300 yards away in the field, and we can see them with a blaze orange. Now, 300 yards, that's safe for a shotgun. I'm not going to pattern and pellet them too bad. But the more blaze orange you wear, the better. Now, this is also a front-loading vest. You see this right here? Okay, so when you've got this on, you've shot your bird, you pick it up, and slide it through the front, and then slide it to the back.
You know, sitting right in the back.
Right. That's called your game bag in the back. When we go in the field, everyone with us, even if you're just a spectator, if you're not wearing blaze orange, you're out of that field. Okay, there was a case where the vice president shot somebody. Now, I happen to know what happened on that day. They were breaking every rule of safety that I consider. They were wearing camo jackets like you, no blaze orange. They were hunting bobwhite. And this guy decided he had to go back and get a cup of coffee or go to the bathroom, whatever. And they're in rolling hills. He come back, and instead of being sure he was behind the others, he cut around in front of them. He's coming up this hill, and they flushed a covey of quail. And the vice president didn't see him in time. And he shot him, got him in the chest. And everyone talked about how careless he was. That entire crew was careless. And I keep saying that gun safety keeps me alive in the field, and gun safety is my life. That includes dressing in the proper coloration so that you're seen and not shot by accident. And I mean, have you ever seen an orange pheasant?
Now, down the road, you can also, I've seen that they have like vests for dogs, like orange vests for dogs, right? To keep your dog safe.
Right. Well, okay. With my crew, and we've hunted some cover that the dog blended right in. And the cameramen were having a hard time following him. And so Ace does happen to have an orange vest. And there's a company back in Massachusetts that makes the vest is called No Dog Left Behind. And they are great. They're the best I've seen. And I've gone through 7 different models. Now, you've seen all of the different style shotguns. What style shotgun do you think you want?
Probably a pump to start out with. Seems like they're cheaper than the over-unders and so more reasonable.
Now, Dan, speaking of new shooters, I was always told it's important for new shooters to have a resource to be able to go to figure out laws. I hear the NRA is pretty good for that. You want to talk about that?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. There's 45 million gun owners in America. There's a little over 4 million of us that belong to the NRA. I started out as a yearly member, and then I became a Golden Eagle, and that costs a little more money. Now I'm a life member. And the NRA, the National Rifle Association, is the one that works the best to protect our Second Amendment and our gun rights. And if you stop and you think about it, you did military time, and you know I did. Had somebody told me 40 years ago how many of my rights would have been abridged and taken away, I would have said, not in America. What happened in England is what they're doing here. They slipped in new laws until pretty quick nobody but the nobility can own a gun. Now, the National Rifle Association is going to cost you about $48 a year. Can you afford that?
Oh, yeah.
You betcha. And or you can upgrade to Golden Eagle or a life member like myself. And you will be getting letters every so often asking for more money. Because the Legal Defense, which is the ILA, that's our Legislative Action Group for the NRA, they always need more money. The anti-gunners, I don't know where they come up with the money, but they're spending millions of dollars to take our lost our rights away. Now, we're talking about the National Rifle Association here in California. You also want to join the California Rifle and Pistols Association. Now, NRA tries to protect our national rights. CRPA in this, or if Washington Rifle and Pistol, doesn't matter, whatever state you're in. They work on the state legislature. Be sure, even today, before you go down to buy your gun, go online and join the NRA today. And not only do you join, but you want to be proactive. We need more money coming into the war chest to fight these bad laws. And now that we have a new administration in the White House and new conservatives doing away with the old laws, we don't need new laws to prevent crime. If we enforce the laws that they had on the books 20 years ago, okay, it would have done a lot better job. Well, Phil, we've covered about everything I can think about. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, of course. When do we get to go hunt?
Hey, Phil, how you
Hey,
doing?
Dan, how's it going?
Hey, not bad. Are you ready to go in and pick the shotgun up?
Oh, of course I am.
Pick it out, then pick it up.
Let's go.
Okay. You know,
Celebrity of this place.
the nice thing about that here is if your wife's a little upset about you buying a new gun and a new gun safe, you can always get her a G-Jaw.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Women love jewelry.
You betcha, they've got a heck of a jewelry. And of course, as they say, this is my division of the gun shop, all the shotguns. And they have rifles and handguns, you know, anything you'll want.
Yeah.
About yourself this morning. Good. I've got to get to bed if I can. Or not, you want to do the perk?
Okay, you looking at pump or semi-automatic?
Either or.
Do more, hunting with it.
And of course, it will shoot 2 3/4.
Correct. It'll do two.
You see, this is why I like this gun shop. These guys will tell you like it is.
That one will do up to 3.5 inch again.
Right.
You don't have as many issues on a pump gun running low base stuff as you would in a semi-automatic gun.
So light.
It's lightweight. They point really nice. It's got your center bead on it, so it helps you keep your gun lined up so you're straight. So that would be when you're just over under 2 shots.
I'm surprised how light it is.
No, that's just about right.
That's about right.
I really like this gun. No, this. Yeah,
So these ones here, I don't know if they make one because this is the tube extension, so you might have to make your own. And it's easy to do. You can just take a piece of wooden dowel, and you're basically just gonna put the dowel inside there, load it to where your limit,
Yeah.
then cut your dowel, put it in there, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have to be the fancy plastic ones or anything like that. As long as it will only accept what it's allowed to accept, you're fine.
Right. How about let's try and get this gun?
All right, let's go ahead and grab your ID out, and we'll go ahead and get some paperwork started on her.
and hunting license.
Valid hunting license, concealed weapon permit, or a firearm safety certificate. And I'll be right back. Let me go grab that paperwork for you. We'll get that started, get the 10 days knocked out here. I'll be right back. All right, so this one here is the 4473, the federal form. You're gonna go ahead and start with last, first, middle. Don't abbreviate except for California there. Make sure you spell everything out. Read all the questions down here at this bottom part. Make sure you're paying attention to what you're marking.